What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today I want to do a quick first impression video of my latest acquisition of Christian Colwell's Custom Knife Works, or Colwell Custom Knife Works. This is the Colwell faction. I'll just give you a moment to take that knife in. This knife was made for me directly from Christian. Really good guy. You should check him out. He's got a Facebook group. He interacts with people there. He makes custom knives. He has a couple models he's making. This is the, I believe, second most recent model. So I was on the books for this one. Got it in about a month ago. I haven't had time to make a video until now. I've been busy with work. But I just wanted to talk about my first impressions. If you are familiar with my feelings on Colwell knives, you'll know that I love his work, and that stands with this knife. So first off, before we get into it, let's do a quick size comparison of this insane blade. So there is the faction. Here is a PM3. Not even close. And here is a PM2. Much closer to the size of PM2, but also much bigger. So this is a honkin' knife. This is a beast of a knife. Oh, well, let's do it. Also compare it to the size of his other model. This is the MVC, one that I've done a review on before. It is actually smaller than the MVC ever so slightly. You can kind of see, it's easier to see that way. So it is smaller than the MVC, but the MVC is a huge knife, and this is a very large knife. So let's talk a little bit about the faction and kind of like where we're at with these knives. Well, I will say that I loved the MVC and I love the faction more. Christian really has refined his process. Granted, the MVC was an early version of the MVC that I picked up on the secondary. He told me that when I got it, which is totally great. I still love that knife. I thought it was excellent all the way around. I could not believe the quality by a guy that's doing everything by hand, and he's just upped the game even more. Everything on this knife fits perfectly together. The chamfering around the edges is perfect for in hand. The ergonomics lock you in perfectly, and the action is excellent for washers. I'm happy with the action on this knife. It's kind of large, so it's hard to flick out here. And the bolsters are flushed perfectly with the scale material. The pocket clip is still excellent. You know, I talked about how great the pocket clip was on the MVC. There's some slight changes to the milling style, but it's still an absolutely excellent pocket clip. Love the retention. Still has the non-captured pivot, which is fine. Prefer if it didn't. But this, obviously, main difference between this and the MVC is the blade shape. I don't even know what to call this. This is like a arrowhead Tonto thing. I don't know. Crazy recurve here, and a Japanese style. Ow. Just cut myself a little bit. Nice. A Japanese style Tonto here. It looks wet because it is wet because it's got oil on it. It's not actual liquid. These come in an A2 steel, which is a tool steel that's pretty high in carbon, so they have a tendency to have a little bit of surface rust on them sometimes, and I live in a pretty moist climate with high humidity, so I keep these guys oiled just to make sure I don't have to deal with that, surface rust. The action on this one is, like I said, excellent. Something I really love about this model over the MVC is I'm a big thumb hole guy. I obviously have got my Spydercos and such with the thumb holes. The main knives I'm carrying right now are Straters. They have thumb holes, but the thumb studs on this are definitely better than the thumb studs on the MVC. These are, I don't know where he sources these from. He might make them. I should ask him. But these are really good thumb studs. They are honestly great purchase. I love the texturing, really good size. They might be a little too, are they wider? I have caught them on my pocket when I was taking it out. It didn't deploy or anything, but it's kind of a trade-off because I think the accessibility of the thumb stud is really excellent, and I really like that. They're just good thumb studs. It's kind of a trade-off though because they're large. Obviously, this has the back spacer like the NVC, which I really like. The full length back spacer. I already brought up the pocket clip. One of the other differences, obviously the knives are a slightly different shape and the Faction is smaller. There's no skull crusher on this one. I prefer that. The skull crusher looks cool on the MVC, but it's not dull, it's not sharp, but it's kind of between sharp and dull, and I kind of stab myself on that a lot when it's in my pocket. So I prefer that, this kind of rounded back of the Faction. We have to talk about, of course, the blade shape. I know I already brought it up, but I didn't really talk about it. The functionality of this blade shape is actually honestly surprising. I have used this knife, not a lot, but quite a bit. And I really like cutting like cardboard with this recurve here. It like pulls the cardboard in and it cuts really well. And it's a zero grind, so no, it's just one bevel, no secondary bevel. And then the front of this kind of arrowhead, tonto, whatever you want to call it, I should ask him what he calls this blade shape, is actually excellent for draw cuts. It functions really well. I like using the knife like this. It's got a little bit of belly in it, and it slices well. It is a chisel grind, which he always does. Some people aren't a fan of that. I like the chisel grind. It functions fine. The thumb stud is a little bit in the way of the cutting path, but not terrible. The shape of this recurve kind of draws it away from the thumb stud, so it's totally fine. I'd say the one negative thing I have to say about the Faction, also look at that lockup. Good lockup. It's not early, but I don't mind that. There's a little bit of lock stick, but it's very secure. I don't mind a little bit of lock stick. Honestly, said like a true Strider guy. The one negative thing I would say about the Faction over the MVC is I'm not a fan of the new logo. I do prefer the Raven that he had before. You can kind of see it slightly in oxidizing. This is stamped, which is nice that it's stamped, but the CCKW is a little bit less exciting than the Raven. I'm a big fan of the Raven, honestly, and that's just obviously a personal preference, but I had to put that out there because all of these videos are personal preference, obviously. Anyways, that's my first quick thoughts on the new Colwell Custom Knife Works Faction. It is a great knife. I highly recommend getting it. I enjoy carrying it very much. It's a weird knife shape. It's definitely a conversation starter, but once again, Christian has killed it with this knife. It is almost perfect in every way. It feels like a tool. It feels like super high quality. I don't know how Christian does it. He's truly an extremely talented and extremely hardworking knife maker, and I love his stuff. Thanks for checking it out. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you on the next one.